So we're just really at the start of what will become the joiner photograph that I'm trying to create. The photos are taken of the inside of the studio where I teach. It's quite a busy area. There's a lot of artwork on the walls. There's 3D work and books on shelves. My desk probably is the closest part of what you'll see. And I've taken all the photographs from a single point, so the areas to the left and right will appear slightly as if they are curved away. So the room will look as though it's being viewed through a goldfish bowl, I think is the term that's sometimes used to describe it. So it is, as I say, quite a busy area, and you'll see right from the outset that I'm spending time carefully positioning the different elements. I'm not working on one section either, so it's far easier, and I think likely to result in something more successful if you build your joiner across the whole of the composition, piecing it together a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, but trying to achieve a sense of balance across the whole area. I use very small pieces of masking tape to stick the photos together. Before I actually apply them to the photo, I'll stick them to the material of whatever it is I'm wearing, jumper or my trousers, just to take some of the adhesive off. What I don't want to happen is for the emulsion on the photo to come away with the tape when I remove it at the end. Anyway, this is going to take quite a bit of time to put together, so I'll speed up the film and you can watch how it develops. So I'm just coming to the final stages of putting the joiner together. You'll have seen the various points where I repositioned, took photos out, reapplied them. I'm just now deciding whether or not to add this final section in. I said right at the start of the video it was all about achieving a balance across the composition. I took probably in the region of 40 photos for this. I won't have used them all. It doesn't mean they're wasted. In my sketchbook I will use some of the photos that haven't been used in the final composition, just putting them together in 3s and 4s, sort of mini joiners, just showing how different possibilities were considered and how that process was adjusted as I went on. And as you see there, the decision taken to actually remove probably 7 or 8 photos at the end, just to actually give a composition that probably looks better overall. So once that's done, as you've seen there, you flip it onto its reverse, and this time using masking tape with its full adhesion, so I'm not removing any of the glue from the tape now. I'm going to go over every single join where the photos meet, and again this will take a little bit of time, so we'll speed up the process. So having applied masking tape to the reverse of all the photos, I'm now using Pritt stick, or any glue stick will do, and making sure that the reverse is given a really good coating of glue. So having coated the back of all the photos with glue, you're then able to turn your joiner back to the original size. I'm positioning it over to one side so that cropping will be more straightforward, and then I don't want to rub on top of the photographs themselves, so laying a piece of paper on top and rubbing on that will make sure I don't damage the surface of the photos. And there we are. So there we are. That's the joiner positioned on its backing. All that we need to do now is to get the guillotine and use it to crop down the edges to make the border more even. So I always use the guillotine with the blade so that it is cutting away from me, as you can see here. I know and have seen other people cutting across themselves, so the blade goes right to left rather than bottom to top. I don't know whether there's a right way to use these guillotines, but my preferred way is as you see here. I feel that it's easier to see whether or not the balance left and right, where the border is correct. But the best thing to do is for you to work it out yourself. So you can see with the joiner overall that there are a couple of gaps. There's one quite large gap in the just off centre. I'm not too worried about that really, and actually it's not something that I think is immediately obvious when you look at the overall composition. So I now need to remove all the small pieces of masking tape that I used to attach the photos together right at the outset. It's really important, if you remember I said about not wanting to remove any of the emulsion, and so when I applied the masking tape I'd stuck it to my clothing beforehand to try and remove some of the adhesive. I also only use it very lightly, so you don't want to be pressing down these small pieces, and that means that when I come to do this, there's generally not too much of a struggle to tease it away from the photo itself. Don't rush this process, take your time, and hopefully it will work quite easily. So I've removed all the masking tape now, and the last thing that I'm going to do is to use Scotch tape, not sellotape, in case you're thinking it's the same. This is Scotch tape, and I'm using Scotch tape just to make sure any of the edges where there is some lift, making sure they are taped down. Difference between Scotch tape and sellotape is that Scotch tape, when it's applied on photographs and other media for that matter, and pressed down hard, you can't, or you can barely see it, so it becomes almost invisible on the surface. And just the last couple of pieces going in to position. And there we are. So one of the things you can obviously do with a technique like this is experiment and explore different ways of putting it together. But there we are for this one. Thanks for watching.